was it going to be in this episode. I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait for this, and did not disappoint.
Oh, welcome back to Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast. I'm Father Malone, and this season we are taking a look at Hammer House of Horrors. And I'm not, oh, who's we? Well, Mike White from the projection booth here.
I would like to be referred to as a sentient plant from outer space in this episode, please.
You definitely qualify. Growing Pains, season 1, episode 4, series 1. Episode 4, we're in England. This aired originally on October the 4th, 1980, written by Nicholas Palmer, directed by Francis McGehee, and starring Barbara Kellerman, Gary Bond, Norman Beaton, and Tariq Yunus. This is about a couple grieving the loss of their son who adopt a child who may be harboring dark secrets. It's an evil child episode. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
You kind of have problems with evil children sometimes, and I definitely have problems with animal mutilation. But the jury's still out for me for this one because I kept thinking that there was going to be some sort of demonic thing that they had basically adopted Damien. But I'm still not exactly sure what to make of this one. What'd you think?
I'm with you on that. I'm 3/4 of the way positive about this episode. And then that final quarter is the final scene, which, unlike every episode we've seen before, just gives us a fucking subtext as text dump from our actual villain, which is their first child who died, which is a drag because everything up until then, in the tradition of everything else we've seen on Hammer House of Horrors, just kept me guessing and kept me intrigued. Didn't know where we were going. Didn't give a shit. Liked this kid as weird as he was. Like hated these fucking parents. By the way, I'd like to point out that how gratifying it is to watch an anthology that doesn't dump an exposition dump immediately on us at the beginning, that lets the story unfold. That's novel. Also, where the entire premise isn't predicated on a twist. Like, I'm so much enjoying that
Oh,
from
yeah.
these shows because these are character driven ultimately, even if their actions are stupid within the episode. Now, here's my feeling about the episode, and I felt this way almost immediately, which is after their child dies, they immediately adopt another one, and they didn't have time for the first one. And I thought, I hope this new kid fucks them up. I was waiting the whole time. I was relishing this child. Like, he's supposed to be the villain, and we're supposed to be on their side until they twist that it's their neglect that has caused all of this. But it was clear to me that it was neglect from the beginning, so fuck them.
Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes to this episode, I was having a hard time getting a beat on who the actual protagonist of the story was. Because at first I was like, maybe it's the parents, because the way that the first child dies is horrific. And then also, we talked in our previous episode, they had done kind of this coming up tonight on Hammer House of Horror thing. And so when I see this kid go into a laboratory filled with rabbits and he grabs a bunch of powder and just starts eating it. I'm like, what is your fucking problem? This is a laboratory, kid. You shouldn't be eating anything in the laboratory. But anyway, he dies so violently. I'm just like, is this a preview or are we back to doing this the way that we're supposed to? Because then they introduce this other kid, and I'm like, he doesn't look like the first one. Is this the same one? And the kid, the main kid that plays throughout 99% of this episode, so creepy, so incredibly creepy. This whole way that he talks and everything, and that he never gets flummoxed by anything. And just, yeah, like I said, I thought he was like young Damien, Mephistopheles coming back kind of thing. Cause I was just like, he's in the back of this car, or when his new mom is driving him and she loses control of the car for what, 15, 20 minutes, it feels like.
At least.
I was like, lady, you can hit the brakes. You could park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take your foot off the gas. I mean, it'll roll to a stop.
Just turn the key off. Yeah. Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, oh, wow, this kid, like, even when he first meets her, and he just holds his hand up way too high for a handshake, and is like, oh, yeah, no, I don't really. He never comes out and says, I don't want to call you mother. But also her, like, oh, I thought you'd call me mother. And I'm like, a little soon for that, isn't it?
Now, from what we're to understand, they've met with this child several times. They have, in fact, brought him to the house to let him see where he's going to be living previously. At no
Right.
time during any of these meetings did they not notice how fucking weird this kid is.
Yeah, exactly. And this stuffed bunny that he keeps with him at all times, I'm like, that's kind
Horace?
of
Oh no,
strange
Horace is the other
too.
one, right? Horace is the
Oh,
new one. This
oh
one's
yeah.
named Horace. I just named him now. See, that's the thing about this kid. Like, so they're positing him as the villain in it because he's so fucking unusual. But in the end, it's not him. What's the deal with this kid?
Right, right. Well, and the idea of them having had all of this time with him beforehand doesn't really add up for me when it comes to them going past the churchyard and seeing the grave and me not really catching on that they've met him before. I was just like, wow, the grave hasn't even gotten grass on it. That's the kid's grave. And that is the kid's grave, correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. So, like, up, kid's dead. We need a new one.
Oh, God.
Like,
Yeah. It's like they run to the kid's store.
yeah, and what is this adoption agency doing where they're like, okay, you're a diplomat and you're never at home. He's a scientist. He's never at home. Your son just died from neglect, evidently. He got into your husband's lab and ate a bunch of chemicals and died, hallucinating. No, you can't have one.
Sounds like you need a new kid. I got one for you. He looks like the young Sherlock Holmes kid. We'll just set him up. But don't worry, he's got a stuffed rabbit he likes to hold on to at all times. But he's very calm. He won't get upset about anything.
You know, that's his other role.
Is that right? Is this a kid?
He's Dudley's friend in Young Sherlock Holmes. So the
Holy
villain kid's
shit.
best friend, that's this kid. Yeah.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Yeah, he just had that kind of face. He looked like the main character, looked like Sherlock Holmes from that one. But okay, this is so funny that he was actually in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. The fact that I don't know, okay. So they get the kid home. Dad is okay. Let's talk about the plants. Let's talk about that fucking lab. Let's talk about the weirdo plot going on in this, which I was also on board for, where the husband is trying to cure world hunger by creating this plant that will give, even in powdered form, will give you enough protein to last a week or something like that. And so then they bring in these diplomats. This is so weird, man. This is about parents who like lost their kid ultimately, and that's all it would have been in Dark Side. But now we've got this polemic about world hunger.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and you're like, okay, that's very interesting that you can do this. And yeah, when they show the plant, I'm like, where did this plant come from? I'm trying to remember. There was a great comic book. Sorry, it's going to take me a minute to come around to my point. There was a great comic book where it was this guy who could bite into stuff, chew it up, and maybe it was called Chew. I think it was actually called Chew. He could like tell you the history of where that plant came from or food came from. So he would actually like occasionally do some post-mortem eating of corpses just so he could see how the people had died. But inside of that, there's this plant that is basically taking over the world. And it looks so similar to this plant because when I saw it, I was like, that looks like it's from outer space. And it just so reminded me of that Chew comic book.
Yeah, they never really get into the plant beyond it's just
No.
this weirdo plant. And why does it look this way? Who the fuck knows? Other than it's massive and apparently hydroponic in that it's in zero soil whatsoever. And if you grind up a little bit of it, you will feed bunnies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bunnies in this episode.
Bigger and bigger and bigger bunnies. Some of those bunnies were huge.
Yeah, that like one bunny that they had, which his main test subject, like that thing was fucking enormous by the end.
Yeah, I was like, do you really want to give this to people? Like right now, this rabbit looks like it's about to do the Night of the Lepus on you, and you're okay with this. Like this does not look like this bunny is in a good way.
And then like I wrote here in caps, this is the worst scientist ever. He does not understand how to secure a door because while
No.
he's off with the fucking diplomats, his dog goes in and fucking, by the way, nimble paws on that dog that he was able to get into all of the cages. I know that
Hmm.
what's great about Hammer House of Horrors is when they come up with an inconsistency, they will point it out and come up with a reason for it. Like in the previous episode, the character at one point says, "Oh, well, I was dreaming, but he gave me a map and it's in my pocket." And she's like, "Well, if you were dreaming, how do you have the map in your pocket?" And which is what I was thinking at that moment, and that's what I was thinking here too. Like,
Oh, and the dog murders all those rabbits within what, 30 seconds? It feels like he runs into the door, runs out, and then when they go in, all of the rabbits, save one, are dead.
And not just dead, man. They are
Oh,
festooned around the
God.
lab.
Yes, just completely eviscerated. Ew, yeah. And then is it the because we have another bunny earlier that it has its guts coming out of it. Is that the stuffed bunny, but with real guts?
Yes. So
Okay,
again,
that's what I
like,
thought.
which lends credence to your demonic theory. Like the kid is making like flesh out of felt in order to freak out the parents. But no, like that one doesn't make sense either. Do I care that it doesn't make sense?
No,
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 no, not at all.
no. And just like that whole thing where you're like you said, where he's like, oh, this one's Horus now. And it's like, it just feels like he has the power to make people see things that weren't there before. Like there's one, I swear there's a moment where he's like, oh, don't you mean this? And it's like whatever he's talking about is right there when it wasn't there
A
before. And
jackknife.
I'm,
He's like, did they
thank
pack
you,
my
the
jackknife?
jackknife.
And she's like, no,
Yes.
it's not on the list. She's like, well, I guess I didn't have one then. And then the jackknife shows up. Exactly. So what's going on? I don't know.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, I'm just like, oh, he can conjure anything. He is from hell. But no, that so it's almost like the twist of the episode is that he's not a demonic being.
And then after the bunnies are all killed, by the way, the kid comes into the room. The room is completely trashed. There are bloody bunny corpses everywhere. And then he says, is it all right for me to be in here? No, actually, it's not. Send him away. But my favorite part of the entire episode is because now we know full well that the parents are to blame. And no matter what's causing the force, whether this kid's a demon or it's a ghost of another child or whatever, these parents deserve to pay. So when their dog, who just murdered all the bunny corpses, Nipper, his name is, comes charging across the field with ill intent, I was so excited. Go
Oh,
get
yeah.
him, I was screaming.
I love that the bunny motif is so ingrained in this episode that even the clock, I think it's a clock that's in the kid's room, or maybe it's just a wall hanging, but like behind him, he's got all of these on the wallpaper. It's all these airplanes, like these biplanes. And then they almost look like insects, though, rather than biplanes because of the way that they're shaped. And then this rabbit head on the wall. And I'm looking at it right now. I don't see hands. I thought for sure it was a clock. Instead, it looks like it's just decorative.
It's just a bunny head. My God.
Weird. So weird.
And it's like, and that was their other kid's room. And
Right.
I know they like re-wallpapered it and stuff, but it's just so sickening. They took this
Yeah.
kid out of an environment of constant supervision, this weirdo kid who apparently like can't really connect with anybody, and they dumped him into a lonely house with a psychotic dog as his only friend. Oh my God. I'm so excited for the dog to kill these people. And unfortunately they didn't. And then he poisons the dog. Like that's his reaction. He fucking poisoned. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This one, so I think I like it now more now talking about it. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but no, on second glance, realizing that the kid is pretty much our protagonist. Like
oh
he
yeah.
really isn't the antagonist of this piece. It's really those parents that are to blame, which I knew watching it the first time. I kept thinking that this kid's a demon, especially since their dog is a Rottweiler. And I'm like, oh yeah, again, very demon-esque. Like I can't remember if it was a Rottweiler or Doberman Pinschers. I think it was Doberman Pinschers and The Omen,
Yeah.
but just looks like an expanded Doberman Pinscher. I was like, well, of course he's walking this dog, and of course there are these problems. And even when he's talking to that random mechanic who's just hanging out working on his car, I'm like, man, that car is going to fall and crush this guy. I just thought he was going to have all of these demon powers, like you shouldn't talk mean to me, and then the car falls on him.
Yeah, the other my other part, my favorite part with the kid was he's walking Nipper the dog, and the dog starts freaking out at the graveyard, and then he's like, "Whoa, you're scared of the graveyard? I guess let's go walk through the graveyard." Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing, kid? And yes, he's got a Rottweiler here. I think the first sort of big cinematic portrayal of Rottweilers was in Conan the Barbarian, because
Oh,
they're the ones
nice.
who kill
Yeah.
Conan's dad. I'd like to point out that my family bought a Rottweiler almost immediately after that movie came out, and we named him Conan. And Rottweilers are incredibly stupid dogs. There was no way he was getting into any of those cages. Nevertheless, they're great dogs. They're
Now, I have to defend, we had a Rottweiler who was so incredibly smart.
oh,
She would,
good.
yes, she would go out to the kitchen every morning and she would patrol. She would actually stand up on her hind legs and look to see if she could get anything. If there was anything within her distance, she could get it. But she was so smart, she actually knew how to use child locks, could get child locks off of cupboards, and she could problem solve. There's one point where Andrea's throne was playing fetch with her and getting really tired of playing fetch, threw this ball in the middle of a trampoline, and Maxine was the dog. She figured out, she went underneath the trampoline and scooched the ball to the edge with her nose until she could grab it. She was a very, very smart girl.
It's the female of the species, because Conan was a fucking dummy, but I loved him. The thing is, yeah, the kid is the protagonist here, but the reason that the episode ends up iffy for me isn't so much that they bring the kid back as a ghost and then it becomes kind of muddy. It's the fact that the wife gets nothing. She gets no comeuppance at all.
No.
And that's a big no-no here in anthology horror land. Like, she needed to get fucking something here, because she was just as goddamn neglectful with that first son. He's talking to her like he treated me like a fucking prop. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was very surprised that she got nothing at the end. I was really just like pulling for the demonic child and pulling for the ghost child, just like, yeah, let her have it. Let her have it. Yeah.
maybe had they just shown a scene like 6 months later where we realized that she now has to raise that weirdo kid. Like, there was nothing demonic about him. He's just that weird.
Mummy, I think you should do a dance for me now, or I'll wish you to the cornfield.
Something, anything there at the end. Just a nice little stinger. Don't give us a happy ending, Hammer. You're fucking, everything's been so great.
I did like the kind of really quick shorthand that they have of these two guys that show up at the professor's place and are interested in this whole solving of world hunger. That you've got the black gentleman and then the Indian gentleman. And it's like, what was it? What was the place in India that was really bad? They had the concert for it.
Oh,
God.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Okay. Yeah. So not in India, but yeah, it's like, okay, so we've got that, we've got the whole starving in Biafra and all this. So to have these two guys, these two actors of color show up, I was like, that's a really smart way of not putting such a point on the idea that they're from these third world at the time countries. I was like, that's really smart.
And
And
they
they
got this,
didn't play up like the whole ethnicity of them either.
but at the same time managed to slip into this conversation like even as a scientist, how fucking neglectful he is. Because it's like, you're coming from this place of eating steak and chicken and all the great proteins, and you figured that this is okay for the rest of the world. Like,
I like that. Yeah, that was nice. Where they're just like, what kind of attitude do you have, buddy? Yeah, that was great.
we'll take the fucking innovation if it actually works, but fuck you for demeaning us, even in that, even in a helpful way. It's not helpful.
Oh yeah. Oh, you just want to give us this fucking powder. Okay, great. Yeah. How about we take all these fucking rabbits with us and eat those instead?
Yeah, man. Do something do something good with your rabbits instead of fucking feeding them to your dogs.
Mhm.
Nippa.
Yeah. Yeah. That kid's voice kind of reminded me of that Doctor Who episode where it was all the kids wearing the gas masks going, Mummy,
Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy? And I was like, oh, like he just had that vibe to him where it's like he was great. He was great at being creepy, I have to say, because child actors can be hit or miss, and this kid hit hard.
Yeah, Night Gallery had the ultimate terrible child actors, and it's all about precociousness. It's all about whether we believe these kids or not. I believed this kid. That this kid presented the knowledge that I'm unaware of to this day. Something dark going on behind those eyes.
I just looked him up in young Sherlock Holmes, and it's amazing how big he got in 5 years time, but yeah, I can really see where he started to fill out and everything. Yeah, really good. I wonder why he didn't do more, because he just has what, 8 credits altogether, and Young Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes is the last one.
The child actors, sometimes they get their calling and they go do it. And we're all the poorer for it because I really liked him a lot.
Says he's a author, having written a novel titled Sock Puppet that was released in May of 2016. Then we look up Sock Puppet and find it's this like horrible, like
Please don't let it be that.
I hope it's a nice kid's book.
Me too.
Yeah. It's a near future mystery novel. Okay. All right.
Sounds
Give it a
good.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
me
not?
too, man. Next on the reading list. And on the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we're going to be taking a look at Hammer House of Horror, episode number 5. This is perhaps the most infamous episode of the show, The House That Bled to Death. Till then, where can people find you when they're skulking around?
Well, you can skulk on over to weirdandwaymedia.com and find all the shows that I work on and some shows that I don't work on, including some shows by you. You are like, what's that condition called? TMP, too many podcasts.
Yeah, too many. Well, one podcast, just too many episodes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And speaking of those, you want to find those, patreon.com/Father Malone, or just go to Spreaker or fucking Spotify or wherever, just put in Midnight Viewing. And if you do that, please like it and give us lots of stars and give us a good review and tell your friends and stuff, because that's how we get more listeners. And we've been getting a fucking ton of them. So thank you, everybody. And until next time, fill in your own end quote here, motherfuckers.